Good evening. It is Tuesday, June 20th, 2023, and we are kicking off our regular board meeting for the school district of Springfield Township. This is our final school board meeting of the academic year. And we have an incredible topic tonight. We're going to honor our retirees. So I look forward to that. And I want to say in advance, thank you so much for the service to the community and for such a fruitful career. But we will get to even more of those accolades. Let's go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For a reading of the mission statement, we'll turn over to Dr. Etlin.
The mission of the school district of Springfield Township is to educate and develop all students as learners and citizens who are high achieving, resilient, and responsible in a changing global community.
Thank you. Let's go to roll call. Ms. Green.
Mr. Needleman.
Here.
Mr. DeFranco. Dr. Etlin.
Here.
Mrs. Green.
Here.
Mrs. Hubley.
Here.
Mrs. Hughes. Mrs. Lipinski. Dr. Taratusky.
Here.
Mr. Bedard.
Here. We have two announcements this evening. First is, I apologize for the late start, but we had an executive session prior to this meeting to discuss our annual review of security for the schools and a personnel topic. Second announcement. The board, at its discretion, may videotape all or any portion of public board meetings subject to the limitations set forth in policy 006 meetings. Board meetings will be broadcast on Friday afternoon following each board meeting. And we'll move right into our reports and information, our spot and spotlight. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Yannico.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard. I'm very happy to have some of our retirees here with us this evening, and I'm going to turn the program over to Dr. Johnston, who's going to coordinate with our building principals and administrators. And thank you this evening. I am joined here by my administrative colleagues who will in turn take the chance to an opportunity to recognize those of you who are retiring, some are who are with us this evening and some who are not able. Dr. Rittenhouse, I believe that you and Dr. Markle are going to kick us off. Is that right? I'll pass the mic to you both first.
Good evening. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce the high school retirees. At the high school, 4 employees will not be joining us this evening. Jen Sullivan has been an employee for 30 years in various roles and is a technology assistant since 1997. Julie Allenson has been a paraprofessional at the high school for 25 years. And Nancy Hopkins has served as our school nurse for 21 years. Finally, Mark Kobaz has served as an SCHS art teacher for 22 years and art department chair. At this time, it is our pleasure to speak about Dr. Janet Sachs. She was hired by the district in 1996 as an hourly per diem school psychologist, and in 1999, Janet received a full-time contract and has served Enfield Elementary School and the high school since that time. Perhaps most importantly, her office is next to mine. So thank you for putting up with me.
And her office is next to mine too. So thanks for putting up with me as well. But we have the distinct pleasure because Janet works and supports our K-2 learners, but also our high school students, and then also all of the other schools. And so Janet's been an invaluable member to our school district, especially at the high school and at Erdenheim, as a valued member of our clinical team and our MTSS team, always valuing her input to see what should we do for our students. But you've had a nice, wonderful lens because our little K-2 learners who might just be starting the process, you knew how to calm the parents and ensure them that everything's going to be okay. And then your lens from the high school where you were able to watch them go all the way up to the high school and then just make sure that their needs are always being met. And we always appreciate your intelligence, how organized and focused you always are. And you are going to really, really be missed at all of schools. So thank you, Janet. We'd like you to please come on up. Thank you.
I'm not sure if either Dr. Rittenhouse or Dr. Markle are going to present Dr. Sachs with her gift.
Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. McKenna, for helping out.
Each of our retirees this year receives a special gift from the school district. Mrs. McKenna is holding it now. You want to come over here? Our camera's over here. If you turn around behind you, there you go. See, right over there. There is a engraved vase with your years of service. I know, she's giving you the box. This is for you, but that's what's inside.
Thank you.
We have this down to a science over here. Congratulations, Janet. Next, I'm going to welcome Mr. Jason Payne.
I'd like to first acknowledge John Waters. John Waters is a longstanding math teacher in our district and in our middle school who was not available to be here tonight, but he is retiring this year. And flip over to someone who is here today. Judy Smith has worked in the field of education for 37 years, 31 of which were here with us serving as a school counselor. Additionally, Judy has been the leader of our specials team, PSSA administration, as well as a reliable worker on the sidelines for probably all of our sports teams at some point over her career. She's a critical part of our clinical team, our crisis team. And when I chatted with her, she said she had fond memories of working college settlement camp with fifth graders, the camaraderie and friendships she built with coworkers, color days, and coming together as a faculty in tough times. Personally, I would like to thank Judy for her relentless pursuit of the support of everyone. Judy, you're an integral part of our school community, and you are respected and appreciated. Please come get your gift.
Congratulations, Judy. Thank you. Thanks, Jason. Next, I'm going to welcome Mr. Nate Bray.
Thank you. So I want to take an opportunity this evening, and I think Mr. Bedard remembers that every year I beg for drivers. So offer stands, school board. I can train any one of you. I'd be more than happy to have you on board with my team and help replace Mr. Bob Kress. Mr. Kress came to us like many of my staff from the private sector after retiring, and that was in 2008. He did a safety position in his corporate life. So in joining Springfield Township, Mr. Kress was a great asset to our team as a school bus driver in that everywhere he would go in the district, he was paying attention, whether it be school bus stops, whether it be school bus routes, whether it be anything that he saw from that windshield that he thought we could maybe get involved with or do a little bit better at. He was never shy. He would always come through the door and make sure he could give those suggestions. So I thank him for that. Additionally, he has made an extraordinary effort, especially while we joke about driver shortages, to make sure he's at work, which many of my staff do, but I will say he makes that extra effort to schedule appointments around where his shifts are and really tries to be there, and the department most definitely appreciates that. Finally, and most importantly, he's been a really great colleague and a friendly face to have around. It's not uncommon to see him interacting with colleagues either before work or after work. And then the same thing for the families on his bus. It was certainly common for me to receive positive feedback from parents and students that would be on his bus route. So Mr. Kress, we thank you very much for your service. And I don't know, Mrs. McKenna, so much like transportation typically is, we're either late or we've lost what we're bringing to you anyway. If you want to come up, I'll shake your hand. But your gift, we learned about your retirement a little bit later, so it is still on the way.
Thanks, Mr. Bray. Congratulations, Mr. Kress. Dr. McLaurin.
Good evening, school board. I have the honor of recognizing Ms. Diane Molina, who is going to be retiring with us after 10 years of service in our schools. During her 10 years, she served at both Erdenheim and Enfield Elementary School, and she served as a lunch recess aide. During that time, she supported our students during their most unstructured times of the day. But I will tell you this, our students really appreciated her support. Every year we do an end of the year video, and I always ask students, who would you like to spotlight? And this year, without them knowing that she was retiring, I had so many students choose to spotlight Miss Molino for her support, her encouragement, her willingness to have conversations with them at lunchtime. She will be someone that they will remember for a long time. And so I just want to take this opportunity to thank Miss Molino. She's not here with us this evening, but I'd like to thank her for her support and just her dedication to our students. And you will be missed. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, I get to recognize two of the colleagues I work with all the time. The first is Mrs. Ruth Carson, who served as our district physical therapist for almost 18 years. One of the things I appreciate most about Ruth was her worldview and life experience that she brought to her practice as a physical therapist. Working as a physical therapist in a school is different than working in the private sector. Your job is to help students no longer need your service. So in essence, to work yourself out of a job. And Mrs. Carson never forgot that in her work. She constantly sought functional and purposeful ways for the students in her care to grow, whether it was introducing them to Pilates or yoga, or finding ways for them to throw a basketball. There was always a fun and purposeful way in which she counted the steps and measured how long it took them to run up the steps before effectively being proud to tell them that they were discharged and had graduated. Mrs. Carson has 45 years that she has served as a physical therapist, almost 18 of those here in our school district. I'm really excited for you, Ruth. Congratulations on your retirement. You want to come on up? Can you hand that, do me a favor? Can you hand that box to Mrs. Carson? Thank you, Mrs. Carson. Congratulations. Absolutely. Congratulations. And definitely last but not least, I am pinch hitting for Dr. Lutz, who had a personal situation and needed to leave the district today. So I'm going to step in to recognize our district registrar, Heidi Fallon. Let me find my paper. Hold on. There we go. Too many things in my hands, friends. So this is Dr. Lutz's words that she prepared for you this evening, Mrs. Fallon. I first want to recognize that you have served our district for 16 years, both as an instructional aide and as our district registrar. You've been the face and the voice of our district and are instrumental in shifting our registration process from an in-person process to online during and after the pandemic. No small feat in a district that loves some paper. While we will totally miss her, we wish her the best as she retires and has the opportunity to spend more time with her family and grandchildren. Congratulations, Mrs. Fallon. Look at all of her. I know, Michelle, sorry she couldn't be here. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Dr. Yannicone, that concludes our recognition of our retirees this evening.
Thank you very much to all of our
Thanks, everybody.
administrators and Dr. Johnson for leading and for pinch hitting for Dr. Lutz. And I just want to congratulate all of our retirees. I know it was already said several times, but you know, you can't be replaced. Each of you, and this is a real cross section of our district staff, right? A real cross section of our staff. So from working in the offices to working one-on-one with children, to working and supporting groups of children, to driving the children to and from school. Each of you have made a tremendous impact on Springfield Township School District, and I really hope that your retirement is happy. I have never ever met a retiree who didn't look healthier and more rested almost immediately. So I hope that's true for all of you. And thanks again for all of your years of service. And Mr. Bedard, I don't know if there's anything the board would like to share. I'm happy to turn it over.
I'll open up for any comments, guys. Otherwise, I can speak on behalf. Thank you so much. The work that you have done over your career in service to the schools has a true impact. I see it in my own kids, and it is really meaningful. So on behalf of the board, thank you. And I do hope that you enjoy your retirement and pursue those things that make you the happiest. So thank you very much.
I'm going to do one more round of applause. I thought you. Right. Thank you very much. And I'm going to dismiss our administrators before my board report, which is scintillating, but still. And I also wanted to dismiss our retirees because You are truly dismissed. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night. Dr. McLaurin, hold on just a minute. So I just wanted to give the board an opportunity because Dr. McLaurin is not retiring, but I think you all know this is the last time that you will see Dr. McLaurin here at a school board meeting as he leaves us at the end of next week to head over to Happer Horsham, who is very, very fortunate. So you made a comment a few minutes ago that one of your staff members will not be long forgotten, and nor will you. And so I want to make sure that the board has an opportunity to publicly thank you for all of your work as our Erdenheim principal, as our middle school assistant principal, and as somebody who has really made a positive impact here in Springfield Township. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All of your
Yeah, we're going to continue to follow your star as you continue to build your career. So congrats on the new role.
It's possible. Just make sure it's the right bill. Thank you, Mac. All right, so I'm going to continue with my regular
Yeah,
report, if
this will
that's
make the
okay.
meeting easy. We'll go into the administrative report.
Absolutely. I know originally on the agenda, EHSP was going to provide a report. They decided that they had said all they needed to say and they were heading off for the summer break. All right. So I just point out a few things in personnel. You will see we have a large agenda because we've been doing a ton of hiring. I want to thank Ms. Kerr and her team who have done a ton of work in the last few months of the height of hiring season. That'll continue for the next few months, and we'll bring you another batch of new hires in August. But in particular, wanted to highlight just that we are nearly staffed in each of our 4 school buildings. The only positions left to hire after tonight will be some long-term substitute positions. We tend to wait for those until August because we want to make sure that the candidates are going to be able to stay with us after the date we hire them and they didn't go find a contract in a neighboring district. And then in addition to that, we'll be bringing on some instructional support staff. And so we anticipate doing that hiring for the same reasons a little later in the summer. But overall, our contracted professional staff are hired with this evening's agenda. So we feel really good about that. Despite the fact that there's a national staffing shortage, we're feeling really good about being in a solid position. In addition to that, you have 2 administrative positions that we're hiring. For the Director of Technology, we're happy to recommend Brandon Lutz. Mr. Lutz is currently the Director of Technology and Innovation in Abington School District. He has a number of years of experience in the field, and we're really excited for him to come and join us and continue to grow the program that Mr. Oliver has done such an outstanding job in maintaining to this point. And Mr. Oliver wasn't able to be with us this evening, but I do absolutely want to wish him well as well. I know the board is very appreciative of all of his work, and in particular, the last few years, the work around moving us through the pandemic and making sure that students had access, as well as our renewed initiative on cybersecurity to make sure that we were well protected as a district. Mr. Lutz will be joining us August 21st. That's his tentative start date. And if he can come to us sooner, he certainly will, but we want to be good neighbors to Abington. And so August 21st is our current planned start date. And then Erdenheim principal, we just said farewell to Dr. McLaurin, even though he'll be with us for about 10 more days. But we have brought forward Mr. Ben Speicher for your consideration as the Erdenheim principal. Ben was the top finalist out of a pool of over 60 candidates. It was an extremely competitive process. We're very happy to the community, to our students who just finished at Erdenheim, who joined us for the process. We had 4 5th graders rising to the middle school who joined us. We want to thank Ms. Green for joining us to represent the board, as well as a number of our parents, staff members, and administrators. Ben was going to bring a real wealth of talent. He is a 13-year elementary principal, as well as somebody who started his career as a 5th grade teacher, first in California, and then in the school district of Philadelphia. So we feel he has a lot of terrific experience, and he is going to be able to join us July 10th. And so we're happy for that as well. It will be our intention to invite the community to come and meet Ben over the course of the summer, a little later in the summer, once we've had a chance to acclimate him. And I will send out a full notice to the community about Ben and when they might get to know a little bit more about him and come in and meet him. All right. And then I also wanted to share with you that over the last 4 to 6 weeks, I have been interviewing student representatives for the school board, because as you know, we've been trying to rotate and give more students opportunities to lead. And so I will be introducing in August 4 current sophomores, rising juniors, who are going to be with us. Nia Kennedy will be our student representative to the school board, so she'll join us at the table at regular board meetings. Her alternate will be Chase Rubenkamp, and Chase will also serve at the property committee. We decided it might be interesting to have a student join us at property committee to help us with decisions we make, in particular about the middle school over the next year. And then we have 2 students. I couldn't decide, so I told them both they could come. 2 students for academic affairs, Ronan Kalina and Olivia Tao. And so they will both be able to join us. They're all very excited to be able to contribute as student leaders. And so I'll be excited to introduce them to you. I told them to enjoy their summer and that they would see you in September. All right. And then lastly, just a couple of highlights. Extended school year program begins this coming Monday, June 26th. I want to thank Nicole Schrage, our supervisor, who's done a great job of staffing that program. And we'll run that program from June 26th through July 27th. Also want to point out to the community and thank Mr. Thorne for his work with our team. The middle school multipurpose field was sodded yesterday. It looks fantastic. The organization that has been doing the work for us has been phenomenal. They're on time. They work really hard. They clean up after themselves, and the field looks beautiful. We've already had compliments from members of the community who are eager to get on that field, but we're going to keep it closed for the summer to make sure that that sod properly roots, especially in these dry days, so that we can make sure that our fall middle school sports teams have full access and our middle school phys ed team, program has full access. And the track, we're right on schedule to complete the middle school track and hope that that might even come in ahead of time. We'll see how it goes. Right now we're targeting November, but Mr. Thorne tells me we might even get that done sooner, which would be wonderful. And lastly, our new cleaning and food service staffs, they begin July 1st. So in just about 10 days, Mr. Thorne and Ms. Green have been doing a really nice job of providing transition for them. And Mr. Chinta has done a great job with our security team who are new and already with us. They came on board June 1st. So we've already been really happy with their services. So a lot of transition happening this summer. We're excited for it and looking forward to the fall, which will be here before we know it. And that concludes my report.
Excellent report. Any comments or questions from board members? The process to bring on a new administrator is daunting, I guess appropriately so, but it gives me a lot of confidence that obviously Ms. Green represented the board, but to have community members involved and students involved in particular is pretty awesome. I think if those were the qualifications for us to be on the board, I would be a little bit nervous about that process.
We're very happy that
Excellent. Well, great work with that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open it up to public comment for agenda items, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Needleman.
Thank you, Mr. Dodd. At this time, we'll take public comment on agenda items. But before we go to our online participants, if there are any, because I don't see anyone has signed up to speak in person, I do just want to remind everyone we do have a 3-minute time limit, and I'll ask you to identify yourself and where you live in our township. As I said, I don't see anyone signed up in person to speak. If anyone wishes to speak who's joining us online, please raise your hand and get on. Or not. It doesn't look like it. Any hands are raised.
Great. Well, thank you. We will move to the business of today's meeting. Our next section is our approval of minutes from prior meetings. First, recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the board minutes from May 2nd, 2023 for our interim board meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The meeting minutes will pass. Our next recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the board minutes from May 15th, 2023, our last regular board meeting. Is there a motion? And a second? Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will pass. Our next step is the approval of our treasurer's report. The recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the May 31st, 2023 treasurer's report. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Treasurer's report is good. On to human resources. Our first up is our personnel. Recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the following personnel as presented in the attachment. Administrative personnel, certified personnel, support personnel, temporary personnel, 2023 extended school year program personnel, extra pay for extra responsibilities, 2023 to 2024, and conference workshop attendance. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our personnel file will pass. Our next topic is Devereaux Master Service Agreement. Recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the Master Service Agreement with Devereaux Foundation and the Springfield Township School District for extended school year education services as needed from July 1st, 2023 through August 31st, 2023 per the attached. Is there a motion? And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that will pass. On to academic affairs. We have an overnight athletic trip request for tournaments and playoffs. Recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the 2023-2024 athletic overnight field trips as per the attached document, which is duly named the athletic overnight field trip, girls lacrosse spring trip. Is there a motion? And a second? Second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Overnight trip is good to go. No items for finance in this final meeting of the year, but we'll move to policy. You guys are always at it. The policy committee is always at work. We have several to work through here. The first is revised 100 level policies to be approved as recommended. Recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the revisions of the following 100 level policies as recommended. 137, home education programs. 137.1, extracurricular participation by home education students. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions?
May I make a comment?
Please.
I want to apologize to Mrs. Hubley, who may or may.
Hubley is totally fine with it.
So we did have
Mrs.
a policy
Greenblatt.
meeting on June 12th, and Mrs. Hubley was designated to give the report, and I apologize because that was not included on the board agenda. So these policies, just in the 100 level, are all related to home education. The state has expanded access for home education students. And so there are minor revisions to 137 and 137.1, and then 137.2 and 3, which will be item number 2, are new access programs where students are able to participate in a percentage of the school day for co-curricular programming, and they're able to attend the career and technical school. So these are very good things for our home education students to have some access to programs that we offer in addition to the extracurricular programming 137.1, which had been already in place. And then you'll also see in the 800s, 2 policies with minor changes that were provided as part of a regular update that we're going to get now on a quarterly basis now that we've worked through all the policies.
Great.
Okay, so once again, Mrs. Seasley, I'm sorry to have taken some limelight away from you.
You did not.
Thank you for
Mrs.
the,
Greenie, I wanted, because I offered and I said, oh, I'll take it this time. So she's right, like, that's not fair. I'll offer the next time.
all right, just as a reminder, we are voting on 137 and 137.1. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And thank you for the additional context, Dr. Yannico.
I'm sorry.
Item 2, the Board of School Directors approves the first reading of the following 100 level new policies as recommended. 137.2, participation in co-curricular activities and academic courses by home education students. And 137.3, participation in career and technical education programs by home education students. Is there a motion
Motion.
and a second? Second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, we're good on the 100 levels. Move to 800 level. Recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the revisions of the following 800 level policies as recommended. Policy 800, records management, and policy 830, security of computerized personal information. Is there a motion
Motion.
and a second?
Second.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 800 level revisions will pass. We'll move to property where we have no items for this evening, as the summer projects are underway. And we'll move finally to public comment on non-agenda items. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Needleman.
Thank you, Mr. Dodd. As before with agenda items, I just want to remind everyone, we have a 3-minute time limit. And if you do want to speak, please just identify yourself and where you live in our district. I do not see anyone signed up to speak in person on non-agenda items. So I'll turn now to the folks joining us online and ask if you do want to speak, please raise your digital hand anyway, and we'll get you on. And I don't see that any hands are raised.
Recognizing no hands raised, I want to thank everyone for coming and participating. We'll make some announcements. We do have some future meeting dates. There's an interim board meeting coming up on Tuesday, August 8th, 2023. This will be hybrid and it is tentative pending whether Dr. Yannicone can put together a robust agenda for the board. And we'll see about that meeting in August. We will have definitively our regular board meeting in August, and that date is Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023. That will continue to be a hybrid meeting. And all meetings, if you do wish to attend in person, will continue to be held here in the middle school Audion located next to the cafeteria. And with that, I wish everyone a wonderful summer. For those taking vacations, stay safe and have fun. For those continuing to labor away, I hope you also have fun with all of the labor ahead of you. Have an enjoyable and wonderful summer. Any comments or questions from board members as we close out the year?
Thank you for being here.
A wonderful year.
Indeed.
All right. Thanks all and have a good evening.